Canada is still very much in the Indian headlines, the land of maple syrup mounties, and as you've gotten used to, viewer, surrendering to Khalistani mobs. That's right, it's true. The Canadian police, that noble bastion of law and order, has once again proven its commitment to doing absolutely nothing when it comes to protecting Hindu temples from Khalistani threats, because that's the flavor of the season. Why safeguard your citizens when you can just cancel their religious events instead? Let me explain. Take a moment to appreciate this genius move, viewer. Instead of risking, actually doing their job and ensuring the safety of law-abiding citizens, the Canadian police have opted for the revolutionary new tactic of simply advising Hindu temples to shut down their events altogether. Brilliant. Why send officers to keep violent mobs in check when you can just ask innocent people to cancel their peaceful gatherings instead? In the latest case, and that's why I'm even sharing this with you, a consular event at a Brampton temple called Triveni that would benefit persons of Indian origin of all religions, including Sikhs, has been cancelled by that mandir because the Canadian police have basically said there's a Khalistani threat and you guys are all by yourselves. We cannot guarantee your safety. In other words, we cannot do our job. After all, nothing says public safety quite like telling the targets of intimidation to just stay home and hide. But are you honestly surprised, viewer? Because I'm not. Have you forgotten what happened last week already? Just 7 days ago, when a Khalistani mob decided to spice things up by attacking the Hindu Sabha temple in Brampton, the same city, how did the Canadian police respond? You, of course, remember. They didn't disappoint in what can only be described as an act of unparalleled fairness and impartiality. They cracked down on the Hindu devotees. That's right. You know, those pesky, law-abiding worshippers who dared to gather at their own place of worship. But don't worry, they were really just being even-handed. Because if you're not arresting the victims, how will you keep the attackers happy? In this case, murderous Khalistani thugs. So let's not forget the cherry on this absurd Sunday. Among the rowdy protesters of that day, 7 days ago, was none other than an off-duty policeman from the Brampton police, this thug here. That's right. Canada is now in the business of having police officers moonlight as participants in mob violence. It's what you might call community policing, except instead of protecting the community, they're participating in its intimidation. But really, let's not be too harsh on the Canadian police. It's a tough job deciding whether to uphold the law or cater to the whims of an extremist faction that openly disrupts public peace and order. And clearly they've chosen their side. In fact, why stop here? Maybe next they'll just advise synagogues to close down during anti-Semitic rallies or suggest churches stay shuttered during Easter just to be on the safe side. After all, it's much easier to keep the peace when no one is allowed to exercise their rights. So let's have a big round of applause for the Canadian police for pioneering this bold new approach to law enforcement. Who needs officers standing guard at temples when you can just tell congregations to cancel their events and call it a day? And a special shout out to that off-duty officer who took serving the public to a whole new level by joining the very mobs threatening the public. Truly, this is the kind of leadership that makes and probably makes one proud to live in a country that's mastered the fine art of giving in to extremists. Bravo, Canada. Keep it up. And soon you won't have to worry about religious violence at all, because no one will dare to practice their religion in public anymore, except, of course, A week after the shameful assault by Pro-Khalistani thugs on Hindu devotees at a Canadian temple in Brampton, after the police violently cracked down only on the Hindus who resisted the attack, and after it was revealed that one of the thugs in the violent crowd was an off-duty local policeman, the Canadian National Police has actually managed to sully its uniform further. The Triveni Mandir, a Hindu place of worship in Canada's Brampton, has cancelled an Indian consulate event after local police cited significant security threats amidst the ongoing protests by Khalistani groups. and practically washed its hands of providing any security to the temple. Fearing violence and with no police reassurance against what they call extremely high and imminent threat level of violent protests, the temple has decided to play safe by cancelling an event that benefits persons of Indian origin across religion, including Sikhs.
Because of the violent protests at Hindu Sabha Mandir that became out of control, the Peel Regional Police, which is the police in charge of our district, approached us and told us that there is a high security threat for this event due to threats that we are seeing from the protesters, the same protesters who attacked the other mandir. And because of that, they highly recommend that we cancel our event. So I told them that we want to continue with the event and what police presence can we expect at this event. So the police then told us something which was very surprising. They said, we're going to provide you with a security assessment, and then we'll give you a quotation of the cost that it will take for the Peel police to come and protect this event.
In a shocking open letter, the management of the Triveni temple says, we are deeply saddened that Canadians now feel unsafe coming to Hindu temples in Canada. We call on the Peel police to address the threats being circulated against Brampton Triveni Mandir and provide security guarantees to the Canadian Hindu community and the general public. Presumably under directives from his political bosses, Brampton Police Chief Nishant Durayappa is taking the easy way out, forcing temples to cancel their events rather than deploy adequate security to deter Khalistani mob violence. A sense of fear and anger is now spreading through the Hindu community in Canada, with a sense of abandonment by basic law enforcement, which seems keener to protect Khalistanis than allow citizens the basic right to worship in peace. Indian community leaders who'd much rather keep a low profile and go about their law-abiding lives are planning to get out of their comfort zone and organize a peaceful protest this week. It remains to be seen if the totally prejudiced Canadian police protects their right to protest. Bureau Report, India Today. And Pandit Yudhishthir, who is the head priest of the Brampton Triveni Mandir, the same temple that had been forced to cancel a consular event because the local police, the Peel police, basically said, we cannot guarantee your safety or the safety of your congregation. He joins me live now from Brampton. Pandit Yudhishthir, you are a member of the board of directors. Tell us what this event was about. It was some kind of consular event. Why did you feel compelled to cancel the event after what the police told you, sir?
As everybody is aware, we had a life certificate event scheduled on the 17th of November. And this is the camp held by the Consul General of India for the senior citizens of India, not only for Hindus, but for Sikhs and for anyone who can come. Because of the violent protests at Hindu Sabha Mandir that became out of control, the Peel Regional Police, which is the police in charge of our district, approached us and told us that there is a high security threat for this event due to threats that we are seeing from the protesters, the same protesters who attacked the other mandir. And because of that, they highly recommend that we cancel our event. So I told them that we want to continue with the event and what police presence can we expect at this event. So the police then told us something which was very surprising. They said, we're going to provide you with a security assessment, and then we'll give you a quotation of the cost that it will take for the Peel police to come and protect this event. So I asked them, this is a community event. Are you expecting us to bear this cost? They said, yes, the host has to bear the cost, and it'll be approximately 50,000 to 100,000 Canadian dollars.
And my full interview with Pandit Yudhishthir is on India Today Digital. It's also on our YouTube channel. You can go and watch that whole thing. But Pandit Yudhishthir and his congregation there in Brampton has had to cancel their entire event because the police says if you want security, you will have to pay for it. I want that to sink in. A community event, and the police says we can't stop the Khalistani mobs, and if you want us to secure you, you have to pay this particular price. That is the state of Canada's police today.